Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for May 10th of 2025 is titled Yogi and Friends in 3D. So what do we see here? Well, here we see a picture from 1997, and the ramp to the lower left-hand side is from the Pathfinder, a Mars Pathfinder lander, and what just rolled down that is the small little rover that we see toward the lower center of the image. That was the first attempt of a small rover on Mars, being able to try out this process, and actually led to some adaptations that would then work for the much larger rovers that eventually followed, which were the Spirit and Opportunity rovers, and then more recently Curiosity and Perseverance, which are both still currently active on Mars. Now, this is a 3D image, and if you've got red and blue 3D glasses, you can put them on to see this in 3 dimensions and really try to watch this, almost seeing the rover there come to life on the surface of Mars. Now, we see a few other things there. The rock off to the upper right, the largest rock in the image that we see, is actually named Yogi. So the rover here was then able to explore a small area around the Pathfinder that then had landed on Mars, and really started out the whole led to those much larger rovers that we use today. Now, the image was actually taken by what is called the IMP camera, and this is the imager for Mars Pathfinder. It actually was the first astronomical observatory on Mars. So not just imaging things on the ground, but actually looking up at the sky. So it was able to record images of the sun and of Deimos, which is Mars' smaller moon. Mars has 2 small moons. Deimos is the smaller of the 2. So continued study is on Mars. Why is Mars so well studied? It's because Mars is really one of those things that really just works with our imaginations. You know, the fact that there could possibly be life on Mars. And that is something that we cannot yet rule out, cannot say with certainty that there is not life. Now, we can certainly say with very strong certainty that there's never been an advanced civilization on Mars, and that there is no significant life on the surface. And that's because of the thin atmosphere and the fact that it is constantly being sterilized by ultraviolet light from the sun. However, below that surface, there could still be life. Mars once did have an ocean of water, and that was on part of Mars, and within that, life could have formed. And one of the things that we know is that life is very resilient. Once life forms and takes a hold, it seems to be able to find ways to adapt to changing conditions. So it's quite possible that somewhere below the surface, there is still some kind of very small microbial life, maybe even simpler than a single-celled organism, but there may still be some kind of life on Mars, and one of the things that the rovers are still looking and trying to find evidence for. So that was our picture of the day for May 10th of 2025. It was titled Yogi and Friends in 3D. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be If You Could Stand on Venus. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.